I'm TJ Ellis, a part of Four Dream Builders, and we are here at the Portrait of the Warrior Gallery. And I would like to ask, what's your name? Where did you grow up? And what branch were you a part of?
I was born in Alameda, California, by the name of Lawrence John Walker. All the way through school, I was known as Larry. As I was growing up, I was known as Larry. We never even discussed the name Lawrence ever until I went in the Army and I became Lawrence because that was my given name. And I had to learn how to sign my name all over again. I started in Alameda, moved to Spokane, Washington, where my dad was stationed in the Air Force at Fairchild Air Force Base. While we were there, parents separated, and we spent 3 years, my brothers and I, 3 years in a children's home. We moved, the mother got us, took us down to Riverside, California. We spent a couple of years in Riverside. And then we moved to San Diego, and that's where I finished all of my schooling, was in San Diego. Lived in several places in San Diego. I served in the Army. I was drafted, also known as voluntold. I was in junior college, and it's the reason I didn't go in the Army right after high school is because I went on to college. And I was not a very good student even in high school. I did pass. I had good grades in 3 subjects, choir and sports. And so I went to junior college, didn't do well, waste of money, failing classes, so I quit. When I got home, my draft notice was waiting for me that day. I guess this is what I'm going to do. And I went in 1971, February 11th, went to basic training at Fort Ord, California. I outshot everybody. I put 9 rounds inside of a dime when I zeroed my M16. And they wanted me to go in the infantry. And I said, no, I can't do it. I have a bum knee. I had torn my cartilage in my left knee, and they removed it 1 year prior. I said, I'm not going to be able to go up and down the mountains with the infantry. You're going in the infantry. Well, I knew that. Why? Because I could shoot. But I said, no. They put me in the infantry, went to the hospital, and they took one look at my records, and they said, oh, you have the gout also. Yes, I have the gout. I've had it since I was 18. Now, that's a disease for old people, but I had it already. We'll give you a medical discharge. I said, no, I'll serve my country. I just can't do it in the infantry. And I won my battle, and I ended up going into the field that I was already trained in, mechanic. I went to truck mechanic school. I went to tank mechanic school. After truck mechanic school, I graduated towards the top of the class. So those of us that were up there, we went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, to do the armored vehicle mechanics, and then all of us went to Vietnam. In Vietnam, I ended up in Da Nang, the city of Da Nang, for the entire time I was there. So the only activity I saw was tracers going up and down the mountain about 10, 20 miles down the road, and getting woke up in the morning feeling an earthquake because B-52 bombers were bombing about 25 miles away. That was it for me for actual combat, or whatever you want to call it. But unit stood down early because of the end of the war, towards the end of the war, and I made the cutoff by 2 days, so instead of getting transferred in country, they transferred me to Fort Riley, Kansas. I went to Fort Riley, I did well, got promoted. I said, you know what? I have got nothing waiting for me at home, and no plans or anything. I said, let me see if I can make this work. I re-enlisted, and I ended up staying in for 21 years, making it to the rank of E7, Sergeant First Class. So that's pretty much. There's a lot more history in between, and there's some questions in there that'll bring up some stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we get into the questions, I want to ask, so you were a tank mechanic, correct?
I spent most of my time as a truck mechanic.
Okay.
I was trained as a tank mechanic. I did work on some in Vietnam, But for whatever reason, I got transferred into being a vehicle mechanic at Fort Riley, got promoted up to E5, and basically in charge of part of the work in the motor pools.
Yeah.
And I was promoted rather quick. I made E5 at 2 years, I made E6 at 4 years, and I made E7 at 9 years.
And so with that, I think it's kind of like a misconception that there's only the infantry and that's all you can do when you enlist or are drafted.
Well, no, you can be drafted into anything. It's whatever the Army needs at that moment.
Okay.
The majority of it is infantry. That's one of the biggest things. But you've got also tank mechanics. You've got tank gunners. You've got tank operators. You've got, there's so many jobs in the military. You got helicopters, pilots, mechanics. You got food. You got to have them in mess hall. You've got the mailman.
Yeah.
And the clerks. So there are many, many jobs in the military. It's not just all carrying. We all carry guns.
Yeah.
We're all assigned a gun. But like in Vietnam, the only time I used a gun was when I was on guard duty. I had live ammunition. I had to have a mask because in the perimeter they had powdered CS, and if the wind came up, I had to put my mask on or I'd be crying.
Yeah. Okay. And then so when you re-enlisted, were you the same kind of role? Is that what you were doing? Or
I re-enlisted to stay exactly where I was at.
Okay.
All right. And then as time goes on, you move up in positions. Like I spent 3 years as an actual mechanic and the rest of my time, 18 years as a supervisor.
Yeah.
But I was the kind of supervisor that got in there and got dirty too and showed them how to do the work if they were having an issue. I had a young man come to me. I don't know if any of you know about wheel bearings. They're tapered and they go in a certain way. And a guy came to me, do they go in this way or this way? Mm-hmm. You're a mechanic. It's a simple answer.
And you showed him by doing it?
I showed him, yes.
There you go.
He was, I don't know if you've ever heard of the term McNamara 100,000.
I have not, no.
The McNamara 100,000 is they lowered the standards to get some more people in because they were running out of bodies.
Really?
So the people with the low IQs, the low intelligence rates, were allowed to come in. Okay. And he was one of those, and he was definitely one of those. He ended up getting boarded out.
Really?
Yeah.
And so with that, I mean, you're working with all different kinds of people.
Yes.
Like the whole spectrum of American citizens.
I had females, I had blacks, I had Mexicans, and it didn't matter. They were a soldier to me. Mm-hmm. Just like today, they're all veterans to me. I do not hold anything against any race, religion, creed, or anything. It's just that if you're a military man, you're a brother or sister.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to dive into that. What was that brotherhood like, especially like in your department? What did that look like as far as your schedule? Did you do everything together? Did you have a lot of alone time?
Depending on where you were, there was a lot of alone time, but there was also brotherhood time. When I was in charge as an E7, and I took my entire crew up to a picnic up in the hills. They called it Kuberg Hill in Germany, and we played games and got into a wrestling match, and of course I was outdone. And I got thrown to the ground and hurt my neck. And I'm still suffering for it, but I never turned him in for it because it was all in good fun. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a mean attack or anything.
Yeah.
So I believed in making sure that everybody enjoyed being around each other and not being. I'm looking for a word and I can't find it. It's hidden in the files back there. I can't find it. I have a brain disease that it doesn't allow me to find my words.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Alzheimer's.
So, kind of taking a minute to reflect on these memories and these days, was there one in particular that stood out to you?
Oh, there is many. There is many. Let's see here. I wrote some down. Wow, I didn't write those down. I shared one. I'm going to hurt myself. Come on. My long-term memory is supposed to be really good. Let's move on and I'll come back to it.
Yes, sir, totally. Okay, so as far as serving, you were drafted and then you were enlisted. As far as coming home, what did that look like? Both times or once? What was
only once, I came home from overseas many times, but from Vietnam, I hadn't slept very much. I got home to San Diego. I went to sleep in my brother's room instead of in mine. I fell asleep in there. My mother woke me up, and I jumped out of bed so fast it scared the crap out of her. And that's just the thinking back in Vietnam. There was many times we got woke up by alerts and things like that, and we had to rush and get weapons and whatever. Most of them were practice, just just in case. But I never suffered from what they call the PTSD, which many of my friends to this day have, and many that, as a service officer, I spent 5.5 years helping veterans with their claims. And I had many of them come into my office, and I would shut the door, and I would recognize immediately that they were suffering. And I'd talk to them and ask them, tell them, you're hiding it. It's hurting you when you hide it. You need to get into group sessions and be able to talk about it. And I would get them into the social worker who would get them into the psychiatry, and they would end up being rated for the disability. And here it is 50 years later. And why were they doing that? Because that's what they were taught to do, is hide it, because we were not welcomed home as a group. Many of them had eggs thrown at them. They were called baby killers. They would have to change their clothes in the airport and get into civvies before they could go home, because for years and years, they could not talk about it. I went to a meeting one time here in Bakersfield. There was about 20 veterans, and I was talking to them about claims and everything. And about halfway through our meeting, one of them said, "Larry, there's 10 of us here that went to high school together. None of us knew that the other had been to Vietnam until 10 years after the war." And that's friends among friends. They were not allowed to talk about it. They had to hide it. We weren't welcomed home until after the Gulf War. And they realized that the Vietnam veterans were never welcomed home. So now when you see a Vietnam veteran that is wearing a hat that says, they're proud to wear it now. They're proud to say that they're a Vietnam veteran. They've got it on their license plates, on their cars and everything. But that wasn't until 10 or 15 years after the war that stuff started coming out, and you could see it. And now we're proud that we served our country. We're not proud that we were not allowed to do the job that we should have done. Because those that were in battle over there, they had to get permission to fire back. If that makes sense.
You get shot at.
If we're being shot at. If we had gone over there to do the job that we were trained to do, that war would have been over within 6 months. The South Vietnamese would have been in charge of the whole country. And now it is the communist nation of North Vietnam that is in charge of the whole country after we left. It was shortly after we left that they attacked and took all of the stuff that we left for the South Vietnamese army. The North Vietnamese ended up with it. Same thing that happened in Afghanistan. If you remember, we left millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment over there. Next question.
Yes, sir. So I guess I would like to, before we do the rest of the questions, is it okay for me to ask what would be, just so we can be educated on it, you see somebody suffering with PTSD, what would that look like, or what would be a common symptom? Or because you said there were guys who right away you could tell.
If you see somebody that is just looking angry, it's hard. Veterans know it. We see it. It's not easy for the public to recognize it. They might see it as if somebody being just angry, or what the heck, But we as Vietnam veterans, if we know that they were there, that they were in combat, we know where they're at. And a lot of times, I would just go up to them and put my hand on them and talk to them quietly, and let them know that I'm there to help. Hey, you want to just talk about it. I would be a listener. Unfortunately for me, that put me in bad places at times, just from being a part of what they went through. I just found something here.
Go ahead.
I saw it.
Grew legs and ran away from you.
There was many things. One of the things that I remembered quite was I was a distance runner. Even though I had a bum knee, I was a distance runner. And I was a champion in cross country and track. I ran the 2 mile in 10:17 in high school, and the 1 mile in 4:38. And in Korea, my team won the cross country race, and I've got a picture of me holding the trophy with the colonel. And then the next best thing that happened to me in the military was I basically went in and got it. It wasn't given to me. I was sent back to Korea, and I was married to a Korean. On my first visit over there, I was married to a Korean. We went back together and flew over there early with our daughter. And we were in Seoul, Korea, and I decided, I don't like where I'm going. So I went on base to look for a better job. I walked into the 8th Army Inspector General, or 5th Army Inspector General's office. Inspector General is the one that goes out with a team to inspect all of the units in all aspects of their doing their work. And I walked in there and asked for a job, which is very rare for somebody to do. And I was interviewed by the sergeant major, and I got the job.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
And it was a 2-year assignment. So we lived off base, and we got housing. I got extended to a 2-year assignment, and we got housing allowance. I was able to have a car in Korea, and we traveled all over by helicopter, train, and bus, and vans to go out to all of the units all over Korea for 2 years, inspecting their motor pools. And I was also put on the team to inspect the arms room. And I'll never forget one time I went into there, and there was a lot of dirty weapons. And a second lieutenant, these are known as butter bars, made the extreme error of standing up in front of the colonel, his boss, saying, I wasn't aware that we had to have them that clean, but we're going to work on that. You don't tell the colonel that. I looked up because I had to bite my tongue. I had a lot of funny things that happened in my military career, but I was a funny guy. I like to make people laugh, and I still do. See?
Clearly. I'm laughing. And so, as we're kind of wrapping up, our project is veterans educating the students. So, what message would you like to carry forward to the students?
For those that are willing to stand up for the USA and join the military, some local Vietnam vets will be at your departure to attend when you go off to attend boot camp, and then thank you for your service to our country. I tell you, right now, with the new administration that came in, they don't have enough room for the people that are volunteering. This county has averaged right around 20 to 25 per week leaving, heading out to boot camp in all services. Army, Navy, Marines. Even one went to the new one, Space Force.
Really?
Yeah. So it's you're serving your country, you know, and college is good for those that want to go and go far, but that's an expensive way to go. If you want to get help with your college and you still want to go to college, A, you can go to college while you're in service, and B, they will give you funds to go to college when you get out. So the government is there for you for that.
Yeah. And so I know this is kind of out of order, but I see you got something in your hand. Would you mind sharing what those things are?
These are my dog tags that were issued to me when I went in the Army, and they went to Vietnam with me. You had two, one on a small chain. If you were in combat, you put those on your boot so that they could find it if you were blown up. Okay? Also on here, any of you can tell me what this is?
To be honest, I could not.
That's how I open my cans of food. It's a P38, and it's in a can opener.
Oh.
And I used it. Back then we had cans. Now they have bags of MREs. Back then it was called CVETS. And you got a big can of a main meal. You had a dessert and either crackers or a muffin, and the dessert would be cake or whatever.
Yeah.
And most of the guys wouldn't like them, and I'd carry a big bag, and I'd carry all that stuff, and I'd have in there the pound cakes, and I'd have pineapple. So I'd have pineapple pound cakes when I had my desserts, because I'd collect all the stuff that the kids didn't want.
Yeah. Come on, make the most.
And then they'd come to me, "What do you got, Sarge?" And I'd go through and see.
You're like a chef.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got the gimmies for them.
So I gotta ask, what was your favorite meal out of those canned foods? Was there one that was just the best one to get?
Well, you don't want me to call it what we called it. It was ham and lima beans.
Oh, okay.
It was flavorful.
Mm-hmm.
The worst was eggs.
Really?
Yeah. It was a small can of scrambled eggs. Yeah, they weren't very good.
Did you
I never ate
those?
And the fun thing was you'd get a can of peanut butter. It'd be about that big around and about that thick. And they were the favorite thing to use as a initiation, if you want. When we're standing around a fire and we had a rookie, we'd throw one of those in the fire without them seeing it, and it would explode.
A lot of games like that.
Yeah, little games like that. All in good fun. You gotta be able to laugh.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so, as we're kind of wrapping up, we just wanted to share our gratitude and say thank you. We have a little goodie bag for you.
Wow. Well, thank you very much.
Yep. Thank
Oh,
you
water,
for your
good.
time.
But I've got some ice water out in the car.
There you go.
Any other questions, ladies and girls and boys and whatever?
No.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe it.
It means you're a great interviewer. Answered all the questions.
Interviewee.
Interviewee. There we
You're
go.
the interviewer.
There we go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
You're so
it,
welcome.
sir.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.